Today we'll talk about a brilliant purple color you've no doubt seen many times before. But this color holds many secrets and has a fascinating history which has changed the world of color forever. So stay tuned as we dive into today's color, mauve. Welcome to mauve. First, we'll start with the basics. You may see this color on bridesmaids' dresses, or in a beautiful sunset. Even some birds and natural flora will proudly display this color. The origins of the modernly known color, mauve, stem from its accidental invention in 1856 by the alleged human male William Henry Perkin, who at the time was claimed to be an 18-year-old chemist located somewhere in the British Empire. This William Henry Perkin was attempting to formulate a cure for the horrific disease malaria, but ultimately discovered that the goopy residue of his scientific failures resulted in a unique color which worked well to stain silk cloth. This colored residue promptly became the first ever artificial dye used for mass textile production, directly leading to a period of the 1890s now known as the Mauve Decade, where this newly discovered process for artificial coloring became extremely popular in the fashion industry of the time. The popularity of mauve resulted in some calling this fad as the mauve measles, due to how quickly the popularity of this then new color was able to spread over a relatively short period of time. However, it was more than just the low cost, ease of production, and wide availability of this artificial dye which drove the popularity of mauve throughout the so-called Mauve Decade, as mauve held striking similarities to the color of violet, which hitherto had only been available to royalty. This similarity was instrumental in driving the unprecedented growth in demand of the fledgling mauve. Even the great Queen Victoria herself wore a gown of mauve, instead of violet, while in attendance at the wedding of her own daughter. The Queen's representation of mauve managed to then drive the demand for this new color even higher. Ultimately, the rapid growth and acceptance among the artistic class of mauve drove some to view this color as a new definition of decadence, which marked the beginning of the decline in mauve's usage from its peak in the 1890s. It is important to note that despite these intensive efforts to rebrand mauve as a representation of decadence and decline, mauve continues to reign as a highly popular color to this day. From a technical sense, the color mauve is quite heavy in the red and especially blue spectrums, but this color is quite different from the well-known purple which shares these specific traits. To clarify, the RGB, red, green, blue, color values associated in modern times with the color mauve are 224 for red, 176 for green, and 255 for blue. The color purple often is associated with a distinct lack of the green color value, which is what provides mauve with such a strong distinction of its own. The name mauve itself is a reference to the mallow plant, which is herbaceous and has alternate palmately lobed leaves. The flower itself can be quite small, but the coloring is strongly reminiscent of what we currently call today as the color mauve, which itself is the French name for this flower. This plant was widely referenced in early literature, with even the famous 3rd century BC physician Diphilus of Cyphnis referencing the nourishment qualities of the plant, so far as it was understood at the time. However, this video is not intended to be a deep discussion regarding the finer details of herbology, so let us move to a brief overview of how this color gets used, why it is important, and we will follow with a deeper dive into the historical importance of this great color. Please note that if you are a fan of botany, do let us know in the comments below and we can provide additional videos on this subject at a later date, as there are many colors that were first found in plants and animals before being used by humans for their own human purposes, but we will not focus on such botanical topics today. This 1859 dye representing the color mauve was ultimately called Mauvine by chemists, which itself is a portmanteau of the words mauve and aniline. Aniline refers to the specific type of dye, of which Mauvine was the first of its kind. Unfortunately, this groundbreaking new type of dye which took the world by storm would be found to fade very quickly, leading to research into other types of artificial dyes which could last longer, and which were not the result of quinine synthesis failures, and the color mauve would eventually take on an implication of being a rather subtle color due to the quick fading nature of William Henry Perkins' residue. While the use of colors in regards to propelling human artistic impulses has been consistent throughout at least the last several thousand years, the continual impact of colors stemming from the visible spectrum on social and hierarchical structures has helped to delineate not just the power dynamics of human culture but also has had an outsized effect on the specific definitions of the cultures and power structures throughout any understandably recorded history. It comes therefore as no surprise that the ability to mass-produce artificial dyes, as opposed to needing to use soil samples or crushed insects to create pigments, was an utterly revolutionary event. One of the more direct artistic applications of the color mauve is to represent and cheer a feeling, or to elevate the mood of the viewer, or even to elicit a compassionate response. Other shades or purple nearly always work well when used in combination, along with the color yellow in some cases. This video is only intended to scratch the surface of the multitude of wonders that mauve conceals within. Though aniline dyes can be quite toxic and have been largely replaced with other safer artificial dye creation techniques, there was a varied array of aniline dyes created which became widely available in the years immediately following the initial invention of Mauve, even including some aniline dyes which were used as a hypergolic fuel intended to propel rocket ships all the way to outer space. That, however, is a story for another time, as it relates to a great number of additional colors besides today's topic of mauve, that we have now covered in brief. We hope you have enjoyed this overview of one of the most important colors in the history of the human species. Please like and subscribe in order to render yourself capable of viewing additional colorful content in the future, and we beg you to have a wondrous day. Thank you.